This episode of Pool Magazine podcast is proudly sponsored by Riverflow, whose award-winning current system is the industry-recognized preferred solution for creating a variety of exciting swim environments. From lazy rivers to sports pools, from residential to commercial, you'll find a Riverflow pump at the heart of many of today's most noteworthy pool projects. To learn more, visit us on the web at riverflowpumps.com.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joe Trusty, and today we're chatting with Lucas Congdon, star of the hit TV show Insane Pools and owner of Lucas Lagoons. It's a pleasure to have you back with us today on the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Joe. It's awesome to be back and catch up.
So a lot going on since the last time we spoke. I mean, it's been a few years, but you've been keeping busy. The last time I think you were on the show, we barely scratched the surface in terms of discussing the full capabilities of your company, because I keep seeing all these incredible lazy river projects that you're involved with. And we did touch base on one that you were just getting started with the last time we spoke. And I think I saw that you recently finished that pool and the lazy river at the inn at the Christmas place in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And we were following that project pretty close for a while. Can you talk to us a little bit about that project now that it's over the finish line?
Yeah, I mean, that project had tons of challenges. I mean, this is a hotel that, obviously relies heavily on being open, and this is a heavy duty construction project. So we kind of broke it up into two phases. We kind of blocked off part of the area, tried to finish out a couple of fire pits and some outdoor hardscape areas. And then from there, we went into the lazy river pool. There's also two other hot tubs. One was on the island of the lazy river. The other one is kind of a standalone closer to the fire pit area. Just trying to give clients the best experience that they can during such a massive renovation project, because there was a big water slide pool that was already there, tons of concrete decking, all kinds of infrastructure for the hotel, drainage lines, power. I mean, anything you could imagine was underneath the ground there. I did a lot of things like a lot of meet and greets for fans that were staying at the hotel to try to have people be excited to come during the time of construction, come see an insane pool being built in our backyard type of thing. We did a lot of kind of PR to help, them stay in business while we're doing this massive remodel. And it just came out so beautiful. We had never done artificial snow before, and I found a really great artist that helped me, create the snow. We did all our natural Tennessee rock, of course, and we're right there in Tennessee. So logistics to get the boulders was a lot easier for that project. But yeah, we collaborated with a lot of different people we hadn't worked with before and a lot of people that we had. But in the end, just what an amazing project.
Yeah, I saw the initial design renderings, and the final completed project is so closely mirrors what you had come up with as a concept. It must feel so gratifying a couple of years down the road to see that project finally come to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, I lived up there for quite a while. One of my partners, Ross, the designer, he was there with his family for quite a while, and a lot of sacrifice to be able to kind of move into Tennessee. But we really enjoyed it. I mean, a lot of beautiful roads. Brought the motorcycles there, hit Tail of the Dragon a lot of nights after work, and really tried to balance work and having a little bit of playtime as well. But yeah, a lot of challenges. I mean, big lazy river. We used 3 large river flow pumps. And, we had just a massive equipment room, big commercial filters, big pumps. I think we had a couple of 15 horse for filtration. Of course, the lazy river pumps each themselves are massive pumps, 50 amps each. And then lots of rock work, needing a crane to set rocks, across the river onto the island. Just tons of challenges just with space and trying to fit a lazy river into a fairly small space. We did a big retaining wall along the retention pond so we could push the hardscape out a little bit to give enough room for plenty of lounge chairs and seating for people, for guests around the pool. Then we did these big nano doors because there's an inside pool right there, and we wanted to really open up in nice weather to the outdoor pools and have it feel more of a cohesive space that kind of flowed from inside to out. So had to get some huge steel I-beams bolted up in there to create the span. And so we had help from a really great local contractor for that, and just made a lot of great connections and, enjoyed the mountains of Tennessee along the way.
It's an awesome project. And I think most people probably know you for your work in the residential pools, but this larger commercial project is really indicative of the work your company does on the commercial side. I mean, can you talk to us a little bit more about that side of your business?
Yeah, we've really gotten into the boutique kind of commercial where it's kind of, smaller boutique hotels, or, we did a big renovation on Siesta Tropical Beach Resorts, Siesta Key, Florida, right here locally, and got a lot more commercial coming up. But commercial is a different beast. I mean, there's so many rules and regulations, and to be creative, it takes a lot of thought because there's just so many rules. It makes it a challenge to be as creative. And then in some of the bigger commercial projects that we've been looking at, needing to kind of bond the jobs and the insurance requirements and just the OSHA requirements. And, it's just, after a while, it kind of starts to feel like it's taking the fun out of going out there and being a creative person. We're kind of slow walking into bigger and bigger commercial projects just as we kind of learn some of the challenges. But we like that because, we're here to constantly be challenged and push the limits of what can be done and find ways to work around the codes, so it's in code, but we can be creative and kind of push the envelope, because most commercial pools are pretty, pretty plain Jane. They're pretty much, just big bodies of water. There's nothing really sexy about them. So we're trying to bring the sexy back.
Well, the stars got to align. It's clear that, you got to find commercial clients that want you to bring that same kind of insane pools energy and creativity to those kind of jobs. But it's awesome to hear that side of your business is starting to take off. Your residential side certainly isn't sitting idle. I've seen you announce a bunch of amazing projects. Recently, one caught my eye that features a volcano hot tub and an awesome lazy river that we're going to talk a little bit about next. I mean, that volcano pool, is that a first for you? I don't see that on many homeowners' wish lists when it comes to, hey, what features do you want in your pool? Can you talk to us about that project and how this design even came to be?
Yeah, so it was starting out kind of a typical Lucas Lagoon with a grotto, a lazy river. The clients had just gone to Hawaii and got all inspired by volcanoes and the tikis in the, all the faces and stuff. And, they had all these wild ideas. And I had been to Hawaii around that same time and also felt inspired by the volcanic rock and all that. And one thing is, you can't bring volcanic rock from Hawaii. Even if supposedly you take one little piece, it's bad luck. People literally talk about taking the rock and like all these weird events happening, and it's like voodoo, right? And so they literally mail the rock back. Oh my gosh,
I've
this
seen
is
that
real.
episode of the Brady Bunch. Yeah.
So we didn't take any rock from Hawaii. We actually, we're best known for a natural stone, but the same artist that helped us with the snow in Tennessee helped us carve that rock. So that was kind of one of our first really big artificial rock jobs. And it looks just like the volcanic rock. It came out amazing. We did where the volcano erupts and kind of flows down the channels, the lava kind of streams. We used this red glass and we used the red lights. And so as the water is flowing down, it kind of looks like lava moving. And then we did this, like a big blower that builds up pressure and then releases. So every so often it kind of erupts and just pushes extra water out of the spa. And we did mister, so it looks like the whole thing's kind of smoking. And, we did the whole lazy river. There's no tile or coping. It's all just rock work all the way around in the island and lots of palm trees. And it came out so cool. We really we're very careful to not have things look too themey or fake or contrived. Disney's cool and everything, but we're not Disney. We like things to really feel authentic and not as themed or fairy tale kind of land. There's a delicate balance, but I feel like this came out really tasteful. And I mean, it looks really good.
Oh, incredible rock work there on the volcano. I mean, I love the tikis that spout the water. I mean, this pool is like
Mhm.
Jumanji back there. I saw you brought in a ringer to help with some of the rock work there. So a guy I recognize and whose work we featured before in Pool Magazine, Anthony Miranda. He's a Cali
Yeah.
guy, though. I mean, what made you think to bring him in?
We've been in touch, for years. He reached out to me during the show, and we've kind of connected in California. And then he came out and introduced me to Dan Pitts as well. And so him and Dan Pitts have done now, I think, 3 projects with us, and we got a massive job coming up as well. Yeah, just great guys. We love the camaraderie and just getting together and being super creative. And so, yeah, it's just super fun to work together. And so that was our first job together, actually, and it came out really well. And so after that, we just kind of continuing the relationship.
That's very cool. I mean, that hot tub volcano is a trip, though. I mean, can you break that down for me a little bit of what the vision for that was and how you guys technically pulled it off to make it look as realistic as it does?
Yeah, we first shot an elevated spa about 5 feet in the air, and then we did a big kind of footer around it so we could build the rock work from, below the ground up. And then also the pool is built on a pretty significant slope for Florida anyway. And I was trying to figure out how it would look most realistic to get up there. I didn't want to do stairs coming up because you would never see stairs on a volcano. So we had this idea to make this artificial turf ramp that kind of went up and around the volcano. So with another wall. So when you look at it, you don't see the ramp. It's just like another wall. And we did the artificial turf because I thought, I've been on like Haleakala and there is some grass and some, vegetation. And so you could have a grassy path that kind of takes you up the
Sure.
volcano. So we really paid attention to a lot of detail there. Once we kind of made that ramp with a bunch of gravel, and so we'd have good drainage, and we put the turf kind of coming up between the two walls. And then right before you get into the spa, we just did one or two steps at the very end, and then made sure, it was very jagged along the top. It wasn't like a perfectly level, like rim where like an overflow spot. It was very irregular, but looking, the mouth of a volcano. And then we really were thinking about, okay, the lava, the way the water flows, like how do we create that look? So then we kind of embedded light strategically where we created these channels where the water from the spa would want to spill down. And then we put in the red glass embedded into the artificial rock work. And so it looked like kind of broken up lava coming down. And I think it came out, I mean, for never doing one before too, it looks so real, so authentic. It's not cheesy. It's not themey. Like I said, I really try to make everything look real, like very natural. I would say more natural than themed.
No, it was an awesome look, and I love how it looks at night too. The lazy
Yeah.
though really sealed the deal for me. I mean, you got like theme park level current going on back there. I mean, you used river flow again for this job?
Yeah, we've had a lot of luck with the product. It pushes a lot of water. They also help with kind of the layout and where to strategically place the pumps. Yeah, they work really well. We've done lazy rivers with different techniques, but this seems to be the most consistent in knowing that you're going to get enough flow. And we usually do err on the side of more pumps than less. I mean, depending on budget too. But if people really want the water moving, you really want to pump closer to every 50 to 75 feet. And, you can do a pump every 100 to 150, depending on the design. But, with that kind of distance, you're really not getting you're not moving very quickly. So we tend to space the pumps a little bit closer together.
Yeah, you do a good amount of these kind of lazy river projects, and you do them so well. I saw another lazy river that you did that goes underneath a house. You're getting more requests for these kind of insane pools that incorporate a lazy river element these days.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing just a massive, I can't give any details on it, very private, but just a massive lazy river, 5,000 square foot grotto, upper pool. You can look through the grotto and see through the acrylic panels, the people swimming in the pool above. And then there's like it's 17 feet higher than the pool below. And so you can jump off into a plunge pool that's super deep. And then there's another pool that's kind of halfway between the lazy river lower pool and the upper pool where the slide spills you into, and then that overflows into the lazy river. It's got a huge island on it. I mean, just some crazy stuff. I mean, this is, millions and millions. It's over 10 million, just a big project. Yeah, we're getting some crazy projects, and it's just fun, to keep pushing yourself to reinventing and thinking how to do things because, at every level, engineering is a little bit different. I mean, the concrete just for the lid of the grotto was over 400 yards. So just a massive structure.
You're working on that acrylic job with Jason Jovag at Hammerhead Aquatics.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, we've worked with them a bunch.
yeah. I saw you guys snapping photos together at the FSPA show, so I figured it's got to be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that pool we just discussed kind of reminds me of the Mirage in Las Vegas. If I wanted a version of that in my backyard, this is what I'd imagine. So I got to ask, how long and what's the ballpark price on a build like this?
I mean, you're over 10 million and it's going to take 3 years to build. We could build it in two or maybe less, but they're building a massive home at the same time. And so the build of the pool has to coincide with the home. So they finish together. And so, yeah, so we're just, it's an ongoing project on top of all the other projects we got going on. And I was just in Italy looking at the biodesign pools and was really blown away by some of these big resort pools they've done. It's a completely different way of building. And so we're going to partner with them to bring that technology merged with the Lucas Lagoons brand and technology, how we do our rock work. So one thing those pools don't have is big grottos and a lot of rock work, creating a way to kind of merge what we do with the look of the biodesign pools. And I mean, I've been in 8 different states plus Italy in only a month. So just crazy kind of building this authorized contractor program and the designer series pools. And then obviously we got our big signature series pools that we're building. And yeah, there's just so much going on. It's wild.
Talk to me about that a little bit. I mean, I've seen you promoting your designer series lately on social media. Can you tell us more about what that's about and what you're doing there?
Yeah, so these pools are 250K to 750K. They're pre-designed. We do customization to them if people are willing to, pay for the design fee. But the idea is that all our custom jobs, take a while to design and engineer. Everything's site-specific engineering. And so the designer series is meant to kind of save all that money towards the build and not have to do a custom design. So you pick a pool that we've pre-designed in that range, 250 to 750K. And the process of getting into permitting and construction is quicker. These jobs are built by authorized contractors that we're training all around the country. And so the authorized contractor contracts directly with the client. We provide a team to do the rock work. And if the rock work is something that pool builder is wanting to learn, we can train them. It usually takes around 5 projects before we feel confident that they can start trying to tackle some of this stuff on their own. But it's been a great program. We started it just over a year ago. We already have 5 authorized contractors and we got almost 10 more ready to go. So, but we can only sign up, maybe 10 a year because we still need to have time to train them and, make sure that we're not hurting the brand. So great program. Is a way for these contractors to learn from us, but also set themselves apart from the competition. We get 10% of the contract, but they're able to typically charge closer to 20% more building our pool. We're not taking money out of their pocket. They're making money, we're making money, and the client's actually saving money because when I was dragging my team all around the country building these pools, by the time you pay all the guys and the per diem and the travel, it's an average of $100,000+ per job. And so if you can make that fee go away, it's saving the clients money. So it's just been a win for everybody. And I've been really pleased with the program. Not every contractor is going to work out. I don't have rose colored glasses. We do our best to vet them all. We go through their financials, make sure they're not going to take a deposit, not be able to finish the job. We go through just a stringent process of kind of vetting these pool builders. And then a lot of these pool builders too are pool builders I partnered with on big signature series jobs in different areas. And they've been great. We've worked together on a big project. I'm like, if you guys can do this big project and we've already done one together, why don't you sign up for this program and we'll keep getting leads in your area and, keep getting you work. And so we handle the kind of the design and sale end of it. And then they contract directly. And then it's been great.
No, it makes a lot of sense because I mean, you're probably getting a lot of inquiries from people that are outside your typical area of where you service and build pools, and your ability to network and give projects to those vetted and selected builders that you feel meet the criteria of what your clients are looking for makes a lot of sense. I mean, it kind of ties that whole ecosystem together where you're able to make sure people are able to have a high quality Lucas Lagoon style pool in their backyard without you actually having to be in the backyard to build it. So that does make a lot of sense to me. So,
Yeah, it's taken a while to kind of perfect it, and we're still, making tweaks, but it's been great. Not every idea is always a winner, right? But this one is definitely taken off.
before we wrap, I wanted to share one thing that as I've been going through a lot of your projects and your content on social media, one common comment I see over and over as is if I ever hit the lottery, I'm calling you to build my pool. I mean, how does that comment kind of hit you and sit with you?
I mean, it's flattering. I love that. It's, if I ever listen, it's basically saying, I'd love to work with you. I just don't have the money. And it's, if I were to get the money, you'd be one of the first people I'd spend it on. So it's very flattering. I know it's expensive but that's why we're trying to, do the designer series. And then with these other pools we're going to bring in, we might be able to hit even a lower price point than the 250K. So, I mean, I know 250K is still a lot of money. It's a small project for us, but let's be real. I mean, to most people, that's a lot of money. So we understand what we do is expensive, but it takes money to be creative. And nowadays, just a normal regular pool is 100K. So it's just, you go to buy a new truck, it's 100K. I feel like everything's 100K these days. Like, we're going to be working on products in the future that are going to be more affordable as well. But right now we're just so busy kind of drinking from the fire hose and doing all these big, amazing projects. That's kind of our focus right now.
Lucas, always a pleasure speaking with you. And I can't wait to share this amazing volcano pool project with our audience. Thanks for checking in with us today.
Hey, thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate it. Look forward to the next one.
Big thanks to all of you for listening in. That's all the time that we have left for today. Make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
This episode of Pool Magazine Podcast is proudly sponsored by Riverflow, whose award-winning current system is the industry-recognized preferred solution for creating a variety of exciting swim environments. From lazy rivers to sports pools, from residential to commercial, you'll find a Riverflow pump at the heart of many of today's most noteworthy pool projects. To learn more, visit us on the web at riverflowpumps.com.